Two Liberal cabinet ministers resign, including Arif Varini. He's gone, and Shanhai Ing is also gone. The NDP pull out of the agreement to vote non-confidence in the government until March. So that's super duper interesting. Do you believe that Jagmeet Singh will actually vote non-confidence in March? I just can't believe anything he says at this point in time. Why would you believe him? Freeland has a cringy video attacking Donald Trump and threatening him, which is kind of funny. I think it's cringy. It's more cringy than it's funny. Poilievre pledges to remove woke spending. I want an audit. I want a Doge style audit. The person sharing Poilievre's announcement about this no woke spending thing says, oh, he's announcing Canadian Doge. I don't think so. I don't think that's what he is, but you can make up your own mind. I'll show you the video. UK is looking at free speech to avoid Trump tariffs and economic force. Do you remember when Trump said, what will you use to pressure Canada? Will you use your military? And he said, no, I'll use economic force. We are now getting an example of what economic force is. Trump is using it with steel tariffs. Trump is using it with other things. And the steel tariffs were on last time, but this is just phase one. This is just turning it up. And that the steel tariffs may force the prorogation to actually be reviewed at the legal level on the 13th, 14th, which is in just a couple of days. And the tariffs coming in may actually force the House of Commons back, which is why Jagmeet Singh is getting out in front of that and saying, oh yeah, we're definitely going to support the Liberals. So there's lots to get to. Let's get to it. First, we've got Dominic LeBlanc here. He's sitting on his cell phone when there's a lined phone there, and the phones that are hardwired are more secure than phones that aren't. So it's a funny picture. LeBlanc says, I had a productive call this morning with my American counterpart, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. Our conversation focused on our common objective, building a strong North American economy that benefits citizens and industries on both sides of our shared border. And, well, Donald Trump is saying very clearly, Canada doesn't spend enough on defense, doesn't spend enough on NATO. And what if I want those cars made in Maine? What if I want, just to enrich our own oil? What would you do then, Canada? And Dominic LeBlanc saying, our mutual agreements and all of this benefits and all that rest of it, I think is missing the point of what Donald Trump is trying to engage in. So Trump's playing one game and Dominic LeBlanc is trying to play another. Vivian is responding to LeBlanc's post. She says, sure, Dominic LeBlanc, you spoke with your cell phone at your ear to your U.S. peer, not on a secure landline. Great staging. So this isn't actually the phone call that happened. Let's go back in time just a little bit. This is when Donald Trump was asked, how are you intending on taking over Canada, sir, with your army? He says, no, economic force. Here we go.
Considering military force to annex and acquire Canada?
No, economic force. Because Canada and the United States, that would really be something. You get rid of that artificially drawn line, and you take a look at what that looks like, and it would also be much better for national security. Why are we supporting a country, 200 billion plus a year? Our military is at their disposal. All of these other things, they should be a state. That's why I told Trudeau when he came down, I said, what would happen if we didn't do it? He said Canada would dissolve.
Are you also considering?
So that's a bad negotiating position to be in. So what you're telling me is you need my $200 billion, and if you don't have my $200 billion, your country can't function? That's what I'm telling you. Okay. That's a weak negotiating position, right? That's a very weak negotiating position. Trump holds all the cards. Here's Melissa. She says, does anyone know what day this is or what effective date this is? Parliament would have to be recalled if relief measures were planned. So this is announced by Trump yesterday after Dominic LeBlanc's very productive phone call on his cell phone with his U.S. counterpart. Donald Trump announces this.
They are simplifying our tariffs on steel and aluminum so that everyone can understand exactly what it means. It's 25% without exceptions or exemptions, and that's all countries, no matter where it comes from, all countries. If made in the United States, however, United States of America, there is no tariff, it's zero. So if it's made in the United States, there is no tariff. All you have to do is make it in the United States. We don't need it from another country. As an example, Canada. If we make it in the United States, we don't need it to be made in Canada. We'll have the jobs. That's why Canada should be our 51st state. We'll bring back industries, and we'll bring back our jobs, and we'll make America industry great again.
So there you go. That's, again, directly appealing to Canada. Canada, you want to sell steel? We want your steel. If you're a 51st state, no tariffs. So negotiating tactic, economic force. Okay. Further, not just one. That was step one, and now this is step two. Macro edge says Trump to sign broad reciprocal tariffs over the next 2 days. Trump does not care if countries retaliate, wishes them well. Trump looking at tariffs on cars, chips, pharma, energy. So that's going to be interesting. As I said, we're at the top of that hill and it looks real high and we're about to go over the drop and it could leave your stomach at the top, right? And that's pretty wild. Macro edge continues. Trump raises aluminum tariffs to 25% from 10%, reinstates 25% steel tariffs on all countries, signs proclamations extending 2018 Section 232 investigations, introduces melt and pour standards for North American steel, smelt and cast for aluminum, expands tariffs to downstream products, ends product exclusion process, directs customs to increase oversight of misclassification. Navarro says move ensures the U.S. steel and aluminum independence, ends foreign dumping, and strengthens national security. Trump looking at broader chip and oil and natural gas tariffs on the rest of the world as well. And so just the cars, right? Just the cars right there. I said, this is Ontario right now, right? This is from, I think, Hot Shots Part 2. And he's hot under the collar, right? Whew. So Ontario is feeling it. Economic force. Okay, that's what it is. That's what's going on. You become American, no problem. Everything's fine. Everything's taken care of, right? I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse. So Pierre Poilievre says, President Trump is wrong. We will never be a 51st state. Canada is and always will be a proud, sovereign, independent nation. These latest American threats of tariffs on our steel and aluminum industry deserve a response from this government. The Canadian people are strong. Our workers deserve a champion that will fight for them instead of rolling over and surrendering our country's true strengths like Carney, Trudeau liberals have done for years. Signed for a real common sense conservative plan, blah, 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 blah. I think that it's interesting that Pierre Poilievre is defaulting right back to threats aren't right, but this is not, we hear your concerns and we're going to address the issues. And really, I mean, Trump isn't saying I have concerns in as many words. He's saying you guys can't stand on your own, and without me subsidizing your country, you're going to be screwed. So you can stop the pain anytime you want, basically economic force, right? But he's not addressing the fact that there's no fentanyl czar that's been put up. There's the fact that there has been no movement at all whatsoever for Canada to do anything. We avoided tariffs on the 3rd, 4th, whatever it was. And now we haven't done anything. And so like Pierre Poilievre say, you mean guy Trump. And I think that's super weird because like the government that's in charge, the prorogue parliament, and hasn't brought it back after avoiding tariffs to discuss what's going on and to discuss the response and things like that. Haven't brought it back, haven't done anything, haven't moved at all. And Trump's the bad guy here. So it's super weird in that respect. And like, I think that, again, if Canada was looking out for our borders, if Canada had a strong, robust economy, diversified pipelines east and west, getting to tidewaters, servicing Eastern Canada, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and we were a strong country that didn't need the United States, I don't think we'd have a problem. Trump wouldn't be trying to annex us. But we have China in control of our federal government, a prorogued parliament, a population held hostage, natural resources held hostage. We have a situation that's untenable and can't just be allowed to sit. You can't just allow that to sit. And so if you're Trump, you can't just allow that to sit. Why? National security, right? Canada represents, China being involved in our government represents a national security threat to Donald Trump. And so if that's true, and it is true, CSIS has made leaks, taken great risk to tell us that it is true, then Donald Trump needs to respond. This is what that response looks like, economic force. And the economic force is going to be used, and then people come in and hopefully clean out the corruption, right? Nobody's glad-handing the leadership. They're saying, who do we need to arrest, right? These books look cooked, right? And I can't read half of this. It's Chinese. So like, Pierre Poilievre's not addressing the core of the issue. He's attacking Trump as if Trump's the problem, and Trump is not the problem, in my opinion. Trump's responding to a national security threat, and I don't begrudge him that. I think that if I was Trump and I saw that national security threat on my northern border, and I had the resources of Trump and the willingness to play poker the way he's doing it, Sure. I think I'd do that. I think I'd be worse. I think I'd be much worse. Mark Carney says, and maybe I'd be worse because I'm not as experienced. Trump's got 40 years on me. He's 70, right? 78, 79, something like that. Anyway, he's got some years on me, so the experience counts. Mark Carney says he's responding to this because now he's the prime minister, I guess. Trump, he's not yet, but he's being treated as the prime minister, which is weird. Trump wants us to lose our cool, says Carney, but we need to stay united. Are we united? Since when? With the right response. Okay, what's the right response? Here he tells us what he thinks the right response is. In the short term, Canada needs to manage foreign trade threats with dollar-for-dollar tariffs and supports for our critical steel and aluminium workers. And as we look to the future, we'll need a coordinated strategy to boost investment, make our companies more competitive, and diversify our trading partners. Do you know that's for low information voters who don't understand that diversifying our trading partners means building a pipeline to Tidewater? You can't do that. You can't diversify our trading partners unless you build a pipeline to Tidewater. Is Mark Carney going to build a pipeline? Is he going to build Energy East? No. Is he going to unwind the dairy cartel, supply management, which hampers our interprovincial dairy trade? No. Nope. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. So those two pillars are going to stay intact, and he's going to mess around with a 5% tax here and there between provinces, and they're going to say, yay, we fixed the interprovincial trade barriers, and everybody who's a low information voter is going to use that talking point, but it's not going to be true, and it's not true, and we're not even making we're not making any steps towards that at all whatsoever. Okay, so it's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. It's politicking, and he's not even very good at it. It's not believable. Here's Chrystia Freeland threatening Donald Trump. Ryan says, I can't believe they got a 30-day reprieve from tariffs, and this is what they're doing with it. This is purposeful sabotage. Yes, this is on purpose. This is Chrystia Freeland. This is like, it's funny, but it's cringe. It's more cringe than funny. But like, this lends to the idea that we're definitely in a simulation, and maybe on the Saturday Night Live part of the simulation at this point in time. Like, our real life just mimics Saturday Night Live from the 90s. Like, it's ridiculous. This is real. Here we go.
I have a message today for President Trump. If you force our hand, we will inflict the biggest trade blow that the United States has ever endured.
She's super serial. I don't call her Shirley. Okay, so it is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. The military drumming, like,
We will inflict the big.
And this is like a child saying, I am not going to eat my broccoli, and if you make me, I will inflict damage on you, mom and dad. I'm going to hold my breath. And like, what are you going to do, Canada? Like, what are you going to do? You really want to start a trade war with the United States? You're going to lose the trade war, Canada, you morons. Go to your room. Like, go to your room, you idiot. Pass out up there. I'm not going to carry you up there. Joe Warmington says, stand down, Chrystia Freeland. You don't speak for Canadians. If you win leadership and become the prime minister, that's different. You are an MP, and although failed Liberals cling to power as Justin Trudeau dines with Macron, not your place to threaten Donald Trump. And right, that's really not. Absolutely not. So here is Jagmeet Singh, and Jagmeet Singh is threatening is threatening Donald Trump and tariffs and all the rest. CCFR says NDP pulls out of the promise to voters to take down the corrupt liberal government. Singh says if Trudeau Carney Liberals want the NDP to support them for 2 more months to pass laws to protect Canadian workers, they're okay with that. So here's this little clip from this.
I think it sends a clear message of where we stand. And we want to make it very clear that if you pick a fight with us, we're going to fight back. If they want to recall Parliament, I've said do it. Recall Parliament, and let's get to work to put in supports for workers. Let's recall it, get supports in place. There are going to be, by law, confidence votes at the end of March. I'm voting against the government then. We still have 2 months. 2 months to bring in laws, protections, supports. Let's get those done. I think
2 months to pass Bill C-63. Let's get those done. He wants to pass Bill C-63 before the next election so they can remove my show and things like my show. And Rebel and probably True North as well. They'll have a hard time with it, but that's still the goal. And it'll be effective because C-63 has riders in it that encourage lawcraft. So people saying, listen, what you did made me feel bad feelings, and my bad feelings entitled me to $70,000 of your money. And so that encourages people to find a fence, right? Where free speech is paramount. Anyway, here's Jagmeet Singh again talking about this. And the thing to remember here is Canada is not meeting its commitments for defense spending. The United States is defending our Arctic currently. Right now, they're defending the northern Arctic region, which is no longer the Canadian Arctic because reasons, which just happened. You know, nobody talked about it or anything like that. They just changed the name. Somebody was saying in the Canada Poly chat, I think this is already a done deal. We're just being kind of read in slowly so people don't freak out. And I think there may be something to that. Slowly changing the name, right? Canada, USA. Wait, what does that mean on the map there, everyone? No, nothing. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It says Gulf of America, everyone. It says Gulf of America. In the United Kingdom and in Mexico, it still says Gulf of Mexico, and the United Kingdom has Gulf of Mexico and in brackets the Gulf of America, right? So if it says Gulf of America, maybe you're in America, right? Like, oh no. I missed the button and it changed the page. Anyway, here's Jagmeet Singh talking about losing sight of the fact that he doesn't hold any leverage. It's like listening to Chrystia Freeland saying, I'm going to hold my breath until you do what we want. Like, it's just not going to work. I'm sorry. It's going to be very ineffective. Here's Jagmeet Singh.
What does that fighting entail? How do you see that fighting moving forward? Is it reciprocal tariffs?
Yeah, the first step is going to be dollar for dollar retaliatory tariffs. Impose a tariff on us, we'll impose a tariff back on you. Again, no one wins in these trade wars. But this is not a fight that we wanted to pick. We were happy to continue to have a strong relationship. Donald Trump has picked this fight, so we're going to fight back. We just announced today, what I would do is put in place a 100% tariff on Tesla, directly targeting Elon Musk. Because Elon Musk is proudly touting this idea of the 51st state, so let's hit back at Elon Musk. I've also said we should shut down the supply of critical minerals. Another move that directly targets Elon Musk and his Tesla company. The batteries that he needs require these critical minerals. We've got tools, and we should be ready to use them. It's not something that we wanted to do, but if Donald Trump wants to bring this fight, know that we are ready. I'm putting Donald Trump on notice.
We will use all of the resources of the state of Canada to bankrupt Elon Musk. You're on notice, Donald Trump. This is that meme where the guy shoots the guy and says, why would Donald Trump shoot Elon Musk? You know, like it's unbelievable. This is unbelievable. And Jagmeet Singh, again, like it's funny, but my gosh, this is real life. Like these people are very cringe and they're interpreting reality and then spitting out a false reality and then responding to their made up false reality. It's really something. Here's Jagmeet Singh. He says, if Trump and Musk attack Canadian auto workers, I would slap 100% tariff on Teslas and give Canadians a $10,000 rebate to buy Canadian-made EVs and plug-in hybrids. You mean the Chinese ones? Or the German ones? Or the Swiss ones that we bought? No, thank you very much. 222 minutes says, personally attacking an entrepreneur because he is auditing government spending and built a forum where voices of reason aren't suppressed is the most NDP thing I can possibly imagine. Truth indeed. Here is the GM layoffs. This is part and parcel of the tariffs, right? This is a response by General Motors. I'm sure Trump's been on the phone. Trump is classic. One of his strategies is to get on the phone and say, what do we need to do? What do I need to do as the president of the United States? Who do I need to put pressure on to get you, Ford, or you, General Motors, or you, whatever company it is, to invest in building America, building American jobs, building American factories, building all this stuff. What can I do? And so General Motors said, like, well, let us build our brakes here, or let us build whatever this factory builds here. And so he's like, all right, sure, do it. Right? This is part and parcel because this is happening. And our leadership is going to make it hard for us, I think. So Table Salt says, new General Motors layoffs 79 workers at Cami Automotive in Ingersoll after Canadian taxpayers shelled out $1 billion in subsidies to General Motors Ingersoll. So no good. So people are kind of blindsided. She's upset. Right? And no surprise there. Here's gov.exe says, Jagmeet Singh says he's fully prepared to work with the Liberals to pass laws and supports, over-toppling them because of the crisis we're in. He says he'll only vote non-confidence in March. Imagine that. Jagmeet Singh misled Canadians again. So we're going to have perhaps the government forced back through legal means tomorrow or the next day, or not tomorrow, the next day, the 13th or the 14th, which is Thursday, Friday this week, Valentine's Day. And if the government's forced back, then Jagmeet Singh has already pledged his support to prop up the Liberals until March. Isn't that wild? Isn't that just a freaking crazy thing to be in? And they're going to try and do counter tariffs and target a private entrepreneur in Tesla in order to put pressure on Trump. And Trump, do you think that's going to pressure Trump? My opinion is it will not pressure Trump. Trump will laugh and double down on the pressure on Canada. And I think that currently Canada is already under pressure. The countdown to the tariffs coming in March, potentially, and it looks like we're not doing anything meaningful to prevent this. So, like, probably, right? And so, like, it is a very, very bad situation to be in, and it doesn't look like we're getting off this ride anytime soon. True North is reporting a leaked audit has sparked significant concerns regarding the management of British Columbia's so-called safe supply opioid program, highlighting issues with the diversion of prescribed opiates toward illegal distribution. So the government's paying for drugs that end up in illegal distribution and end up over the border in the United States too. Again, this is something that Trump has asked for Canada to stop, and we haven't been able to, or we've been unwilling to, up to this point. And I think that that's interesting. Here is Fox News breakdown, and it's 2.5 minutes. It's a little long. The too long didn't read as they go through Trump talking about Canada being a 51st state and them saying that they think maybe this is, they don't really think that Trump's serious still about taking over Canada. They think it's a negotiation tactic. But they say that Justin Trudeau's tactic is to use Trump's bombastic threat to scare Canadians into re-electing the Liberals, and maybe something to that. I think that, and I've been saying for a while, Trudeau's plan is to hand the economic damage done by the Liberals over to Trump and say this is the orange man bad's fault, right? And so I think there's definitely something to
the
that.
Environmental impact.
This is hilarious. This is absolutely hilarious. I was in the United States last year. We went to Universal Studios, and it was really fun. And we were, as soon as we crossed the border, the first day, we went to a Target and they had plastic bags, and we were like, "Ooh, so luxurious! It's crazy." We went to a fast food place and there was plastic straws, and we were like, "This is amazing!" Like, night and day difference, because the paper straws are terrible. But I didn't know paper straws explode. Okay, so exploding paper straws, you better watch out. Okay, watch out, because Trump is warning, and he's signing executive orders to protect Americans from exploding paper straws. Here we go.
The environmental impact of plastic straws versus paper straws is entirely unclear. This has cost both the government and private industry an absolute ton of money and left consumers all over the country wildly dissatisfied with their straws. So we're asking aspects of the federal government, federal departments and agencies to look at their existing procurement processes, and we're asking your Domestic Policy Council to look holistically at this issue to address it, and it really is something that affects ordinary Americans in their everyday lives.
We're going back to plastic straws. These things don't work. I've had them many times, and on occasion they break, they explode. If something's hot, they don't last very long, like a matter of minutes, sometimes a matter of seconds. It's a ridiculous situation. So we're going back to plastic straws. I think it's okay.
Hero. So the guy here,
the
guy here over his shoulder is killing himself laughing. He's the whole time, he's trying not to. And then everybody else starts laughing when Trump says the plastic straws explode. And that's it. That's fun. Really, that's kind of fun. That's why I love politics. General Hillier says every flight to the United States out of Toronto is full. Nobody's doing this Team Canada nonsense. Rupa is saying the departure lounge in Ottawa Airport is packed. The U.S. departure lounge is packed. All flights leaving for the U.S. right now are full. Nobody's boycotting the U.S. People are crazy if they think that's happening. It's not. Vivian says, I'm confused. Canadians were told for years by the Prime Minister, I intend to resign, Justin Trudeau, that we were a post-national state and patriotism was beneath us. Gauche, frowned upon. We were entitled global citizen or enlightened global citizens. Why the sudden urge to go all nativist? And can you even say that? Robert Fife says Canadians urged to show national pride on Flag Day in the face of Trump's threats and insults. What? Bring on the 51st state. This is just getting crazy town, right? Linda says, I can't believe I'm reading this. I had a Canadian flag on my car after the convoy and was told off by so many liberals that I was an insurrectionist. Liberals are pure evil snakes. And the level of hypocrisy and stupidity as no end. Yeah, now put a Canadian flag in your profile, for Team Canada and stuff. What? So these idiots are going to lead us to a worse outcome because they're trying to protect something that they themselves destroyed on purpose to hand us over to the globalists. So holy smoke, right? Let's talk about leadership and the election. Maxime Bernier is coming out and talking about this kind of stuff because he's the leader of the PPC. And he says, we need an army of non-woke soldiers loyal to Canada. A PPC government would eliminate all DEI programs, gender nonsense, and woke rules applying to the military, fire every non-citizen, and reinstate those fired over the vaccine mandates with back pay. So PPC have come out with a bunch of new policies addressing and looking a lot like tightening up language, looking a lot like Trump's policies, which I think are popular, and I don't think that they need much promotion to catch fire, really. But again, our elections are rigged, and so I don't know how to deal with that. Vitamin D says, good riddance. 2 Liberal cabinet members will not seek re-election. Arif Varini is the first one. Oh, no, it's Tracy Wilson. Sorry, Tracy Wilson highlighting Mary Ng, and Mary Ng is leaving. I didn't read hers. I read Arif Varini's. Mary Ng, I think, is one of the 11 confirmed Chinese traitors in the House. So, like, good riddance. I don't care why she's leaving. I can't believe that she's not being arrested. Why are these people not being fully audited? Like, what? We're just going to let them walk away after all the damage they've done? Like, are you kidding me? Tracy says the Minister of Export, International Trade and Economic Development announces she's done in the middle of a trade and export dispute. Trudeau is off partying with the Prime Minister of France. Parliament remains prorogued. Wild. How is Macron still in power? Didn't he lose an election last year? Why is he still the Prime Minister of France? What is going on? He was the President of France and now he's the Prime Minister of France? I'm not sure exactly how their system works, but they have a Prime Minister and a President, right? It's crazy, and I don't understand how it works. But all of this stinks. It all stinks to high heaven. And here's Arif Varini. He's leaving because he's been in politics so long and his family misses him. Is that believable? Give it 2 seconds. By Valentine's Day, he's going to have a job at BMO, right? A la Scott Bryson. Larry Brock says, the latest cabinet minister to flee the sinking ship that is the Liberal government. What does he leave behind? Violent gun crime up 116%. Violent crime up 50%. Hate crime up 51%. They changed the definition of hate crime and they're going after people like me saying men can't be women. They're saying, oh, that's a hate crime. Or in England, they call it a non-crime hate incident, which is like a quasi-crime, which is ridiculous. Get out. Like, I would not allow police to come into my house to talk to me about this crap. I'd be like, no, that's not happening. Call my lawyer. Like, no. Auto theft's up 46%. I'd have to have a lawyer on retention, but I'd get one for crying out loud. Extortion up 357%. Extortion? That seems like a foreign crime. Are we importing foreign crime now? Yes. Yes, we are. His track record speaks for itself. It's time to end the catch and release policies of this failed Liberal government that have caused so much crime and chaos in our communities. So Larry Brock is responding to Arif Varini being done. And Pierre Poilievre has 2 videos that he's pushing. This is one Mark says Pierre Poilievre promises a Doge team for Canada and global affairs. I don't hear that. Like, he says he's going to stop all the DEI wasteful spending, but he doesn't say we're going to have a Doge style team and audit every line of everything. And that's the special sauce. I don't want them to go and clean out Global Affairs Canada. I want Global Affairs Canada to be a footnote. I want the whole thing audited publicly. I want a team that goes in there and says, do you know that we were sending, the things that we know are insane and nobody's doing anything about that. Right? So Global Affairs Canada should be shut down because what they're doing is stealing our money and shoveling it out to the third world or the rest of the world for nothing. Canada gets nothing for it. And then we should audit everything else. But he's promising, I'm just going to stop the DEI stuff. Well, who decides what that is, right? No. Open it up, the whole thing, full audit, Doge team style. And there's an actual style. It's one of the nerds, one of the young 20-year-olds. Greta was 13, everybody, by the way. Somebody made a tweet about this, and I thought it was effective. Greta Thunberg was 13 years old, and we were all supposed to listen to her. But these 19-year-old computer wizard guys who are using their expertise to audit the government, those guys are too young to be doing that. Like, give me a break, right? But they have a structure. There's one geek. I don't know, they called themselves a geek in the post. There's one of the young computer guys, one investigator, and like a support team underneath them to help transition data from where they have to work, which is Treasury, over to Doge to get things running. But in each place that they're investigating gets one whole team dedicated to that thing, right? And so it's like, I think we should copy the structure because it seems to be working well, and then it should be public. Like, anyway, here's Pierre Poilievre with his kind of watered down version, I guess. Here we go.
These improvements will be funded by dramatically cutting foreign aid, a lot of which goes to dictators, terrorists, and global bureaucracies. We've got enough problems at home. We've got our own backyard to protect. We can't be sending billions of dollars to other places. Often much of it is wasted and stolen and swallowed up by bureaucracies that act against our interest. I will be bringing our money home with massive cuts to these wasteful and corrupt foreign aid grants. So Canadians will decide. With Trudeau, Carney, Liberals, more and more billions of dollars will go to global and globalist organizations, while our people at home are starving and our military is unable to defend our territory. Or they can bring it home with common sense conservatives who will make sure our money serves our people, our sovereignty, and our interests. And we will also go ahead with the already planned defense update, NORAD modernization plans that include, among other things, advanced air-to-air missiles.
More procurement, military stuff there. But like, did you hear the Doge stuff? Did you hear it? We will make sure our money serves our purpose. No more blah, blah, blah. I don't know. It seems mealy-mouthed, right? Here's another one. Canada saw the worst food inflation in 40 years with the Carney Trudeau Liberals in power. Common sense conservatives will blah, 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 blah. Here's 47 seconds. Here we go.
Carney Trudeau Liberals have caused the worst food inflation in 40 years. Since Carney became Trudeau's top economic advisor in 2020, we've had the worst food inflation. In fact, food prices have gone up 37% faster under Carney Trudeau than they did in the United States during the same time. You can't blame COVID or Ukraine for that. You have to blame the Carney carbon tax. Carney now says he'll quickly pause the tax for the election before bringing back an even bigger tax after the election, which would cause starvation in many communities. I will axe all the carbon taxes.
Still not enough. We need to have a look at income tax. We need to have a look at exactly what our tax dollars are going to and why we had $5 billion to send to Ukraine and how much we're sending to Israel and how much we're sending to Gaza and the United Nations and the WHO. We need it all examined. And it doesn't sound like, oh, I'm going to axe the tax. That's not quite enough anymore. Okay. Seems weak in the shadow of Doge. Pierre Poilievre again says carbon tax. Carney opposed Canadian pipelines that would have brought Canadian energy to world markets and created powerful paychecks for our people. At the same time, he supported pipelines in foreign countries that boosted dollars for dictators. Sign here, blah, blah, blah. So here's the difference between Carney and Poilievre. It's not much of a difference. Hello, everyone. Thanks very much for watching. This is just a short version of a longer show. If you'd like to get the whole show, you can go over to CanadaPoly.com and sign up for a subscription. Just look in the drop-down tab for Shop and Donate and look for subscriptions, and you'll get immediate access to the full show. Love to see you. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful